Yo, this is Alup. You got pretty big balls to watch Torian's YouTube videos.
Right, this is going to be another one of my Patreon discussions. Obviously, at that point in time, a Java update would tell me that it's available. So anyone in the world ever needed Java for any particular reason, and we all didn't get away with pressing not today for 1,000 fucking days in a row of our life. At the end of my life, I'm pretty sure a guy will just come up as I'm dying on the ground, probably stabbed to death by some mentally ill person from Brazil, and then he'll just whisper in my ear, would you like to update Java before you die? And I'll just go, no, thank you. And then I'll just pass off into the fucking afterlife where Java isn't a thing. That's all I want, to just live a life without Java. Right, so now we've got that out of the way, on this episode, got a new person joining us, different group of people. Zen's still here, still hasn't gotten over his fear of cameras.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. You know, maybe he thinks they'll steal his soul. Joke's on you, mate. You're from Portugal. Nothing to steal. Right, anyway. In that note, since you are the new person joining the group here, Penguin, we'll give you the dealer's choice, as it were. What topic or what game would you like to talk about first? What do you think would be interesting to start us off?
Something I think would be interesting to start off is maybe just going into like how space stations salaries, that they released their salaries from their 50 players or something. I remember seeing an article.
I don't remember this article. What is this we're talking about?
I saw one of the articles that I think you posted. It was about like how space stations professional players got salaries from like 16,000 to 60,000. I forget exactly where the article was from. I gotta relook at it, but I think it was posted from. I don't know if it was posted by you or you tweeted it and it was like hidden within the article somewhere. But just like posting just like player salaries in general.
Is this for CSGO?
I think it was all of it. I think it was across because it's saying over 50 professional esports players' salaries from 16,000 to 60,000.
Oh, right. That sounds like it could be plausible. Yeah, overall. Yeah. So what angle do you want to take on that?
Just like players in general, how are they getting paid? Are they like even getting like reasonably paid? Is that you think like the average for like different games? You think like Counter-Strike is more than like the other games, or just in general like how the salaries gone across all of esports?
I mean, I'm not someone who like tries to keep the closest track on that entirely, and I'm not someone, for example, just as a person, I'm not the sort of person who asks my friends like, how much do you make or whatever, you know, like I'm not super up to date on that compared to most people. But I would say in terms of ballpark, the problem with esports is it's really top heavy. Mm-hmm. So like the best team in Counter-Strike, yeah, they might make 20k a month each. Mm-hmm. The best League of Legends player makes like, you know, like over $1 million a year himself salary. So those people are making megabucks. The problem is, and this is the trick, is if you remember last time LCS revealed the average salary, they said the average salary was something like, I think $300,000 maybe. Yep. Well, logically, if you have a few people making $1 million or $1 million or more, yep, and then you have loads of people making, you know, 80k, 150k, you might end up at 300k. Like, if you know, there's not going to be many people who make the millions. There's going to be loads who make less, but on average, I would guess that the average is obviously like probably higher than the median. Put that way, I would say there's a few people, obvious ones that you should be able to guess. Hooney, people who are on Team Liquid, they're skewing the fuck out the salaries. But you have a lot of people where, like, if I had to guess, if I think someone who plays for CLG is probably on something way closer to what a Counter-Strike player makes in that respect. So I will say as well, another angle that's very weird about the salaries in League of Legends is nowadays they're not actually based on anything except market value, like literally what someone else will pay you who has all the money. Because in the past, people wouldn't realize this. When League of Legends first started and you really could half play, half stream, well, the thing is, streaming is what you can make loads of money off because it's just a person sat at a PC. So there's a reason why, for example, I always make this point and no one ever stops to think what I mean, right? FaZe Clan might be the biggest esports org in the world. That would be a very reasonable statement, right? FaZe Clan has no team in Overwatch League. FaZe Clan has no team in LCS. Now, that's not because FaZe Clan doesn't want to be in those leagues. If they wanted to be in, they would be in instantly. They have the money, they can get the investment, they would even be wanted by these particular leagues, you know, because FaZe Clan, think of the massive scope of that brand. The problem is, one of FaZe Clan's ownership people, Banks, even said he thinks franchise leagues are kind of for chumps. Like, you just lose money in them. Like the point is, unlike some of the teams like G2 or whatever, their main business is esports, and they hope esports gets big enough one day they can make loads of money. FaZe Clan already makes fucking mad bank just from all the streaming success. Like, they know exactly what they're doing, and then they're clever enough to use the streaming stuff to then also have pro players to make it seem like you're more of a pro org, and it all feeds into itself, you know. Too many orgs go the other way, and their main thing's the esports side, and maybe they do streaming and other media stuff as like an add-on. But if you do it that way, you're going to be bleeding money. The FaZe way, you make a lot of money, but then again, obviously the downside they have is they then don't get a say in the way Overwatch League runs and LCS. You know, they're not in those leagues. They're just sat out watching and seeing if it succeeds or fails. So,
like, even think of the overhead too. Just like if you do like a reality TV show, it's so much cheaper to do that than doing like a whole freaking huge production, like a Game of Thrones production. You're paying so much more money in just that overhead in general. Why
that's actually the whole reason why E-League was done by Turner. It had nothing to do with. Here's the thing: they're not stupid. They know exactly what they're doing. They didn't imagine they were going to get 1 million viewers an episode and that it would like break all the records and all that sort of stuff. I mean, for a start off, it wouldn't even make sense that it would anyway, because there was always an option to watch online, and that is where the main esports audience is. So you were already trying to get an audience that doesn't exist yet. You were getting your regular TV audience. You're hoping that when they tuned in on Friday night at 10 p.m. or whatever it was Eastern.
It's 12 Eastern. I was 12 Eastern. I remember watching.
You were hoping that they see it and go, hey, this is cool. Maybe I'll stay around, which is like, that's such a different audience to Counter-Strike, for example. So that's basically why they did it, though, is that they knew that, listen, like, to an esports person, they might go, oh my God, you want to be paid over $1,000 a day? To the person who does TV shows, they're like, only 1,000 a day? Like, that's a fucking joke to them, mate. Like, they're not going to get some washed up TV star to work for that money. And if he is, he's going to have all agents' fees, he's going to be part of SAG, and you're going to need all these extra things that cost more money that no one knows, all the hidden costs. Like, I'll tell you a famous one that's starting to affect esports events that always fucked over Hollywood. Because, you know, in Hollywood, it never made sense how much they would say it costs to make a movie. Because some movies, you'd be like, they're not even any special effects now. How could it cost like 8 million to make this movie, you know, where they're all just in one city? Well, one of the reasons why is loads of people understand that when a Hollywood movie studio comes and goes, hi, I'd like to rent your cafe, you just go, yes, of course. I will now in my head 5x the price and tell you that's what the price is for you because you are a Hollywood movie. You know, you put the price up because you know they've got the money. So it becomes like a self-perpetuating problem. Yeah. You don't get it for what a normal person would get it for, basically. Or if you like own the business yourself, obviously. So is there anything else along those lines? That's like the ballpark you wanted to get into, right?
Yeah, no, that's about the ballpark. Just seeing like why are like salaries where they are, like comparatively, like even then, like how much does like the academy players get played competitively? Do they even like make like a livable salary?
If I had to guess, I would say they probably still make like, you know, a couple of K each. For what they do, it's actually probably quite a reasonable salary. The main problem is this, and this is the point that no one wants to make, because it's a downer, isn't it? Is none of us should make this money. A sports star shouldn't make millions of dollars. Like, I'm not saying shouldn't like some moral judgment. I just mean like being really amazing at shooting a basketball, in theory, shouldn't really pay more than like a super high skilled job that's really, really hard, right? They're both super high skilled jobs. But the real reason it does pay millions for the basketball thing is the same thing, just market value. Like, they make a certain amount of money, therefore you have leverage over your team to say, well, I want a certain percentage if you want me to play for you. Then also there's the factor that, listen, if we all got together and did a cartel, spoiler, every American sports league, which has a salary cap, explicitly anti-capitalist and anti-American value, by the way. Course, if you go ahead and do that, then you can stop the guy just saying, well, if you don't pay me 4 times, I will go to Noah Winston, who will pay me 4 times. And then he goes, I am brilliant at business. I will pay you 4 times what he was paying. Look, I get all the players I want. It's like, yeah, no shit. But like, the problem in that scenario is it's no longer tethered to anything real. It's just purely the perception of what it's worth. It's like cryptocurrency. If everyone decides tomorrow it's worth $1, it's worth $1. I'm sorry. You might have loads of it and you might go, what the fuck? This is all worth millions. It's like, it's worth $1 now. Because for whatever reason, everyone's mental paradigm changed and they think it's worth $1. Similarly though, if you wake up tomorrow and someone goes, Bitcoin's at 100K. Well, you didn't do anything, but now you do have 100 times whatever you had before. You had some insane amount. So to be fair, it can also go the other way. Like, obviously, if esports keeps getting bigger, it'll actually see, in fact, this is an interesting side angle people don't think of, is you get a lot of people who are smart businessmen who ran their companies in esports as businesses. And I got to tell you, they got left in the dirt. Whole bunch of them. I used to work for SK Gaming when SK Gaming was probably the biggest team in the entire world. It was a multi-game team in an era where some teams had, 1 or 2 games. Like maybe they had like CS and Quake or CS and Battlefield or whatever it was. Like, well, the difference was SK Gaming would have like all the big games. But the problem was they ran it as a business. They made sponsorship, they paid the salaries, and at the end they made money. Well, the thing is, in the days when games like League of Legends and StarCraft 2, the salaries started popping off like a motherfucker, just going up and up and up and up and up, just as the game got bigger. Basically, my boss just had the philosophy of like, oh, this is a bubble. So there's no point me getting involved. Why would I waste my money now where in 2 years the game could just die and I've wasted all this salary? Like what I'll do instead is I'll either go in when it's like a min-max deal, like this guy's like, bad spot in his career, but he's a decent player, so I could get him for cheaper, or I'll just sit it out. And so he had actually had the chance in history to do things that if you heard now as a fan, you might think, what an idiot. But actually in terms of business made sense. Like for example, this is no exaggeration. He could have had Moscow 5's League of Legends team. When Moscow 5 had all those problems. He could have just taken the best team in the world, basically. He could have taken many, many times the best CS team. They would have even come willingly. It was a huge name org. But my problem is, you what?
They took it once, but yeah.
They took it later, but that's a different part of the story, which I'm going to get to. The problem is, there's 2 angles to this. On the one hand, he was right. It was a bubble. He would have wasted some of that money. His company would actually be losing money now. On the other hand, that is just what esports is now. There is no running it like a business. Like, well, you can, but you're going to run it like a mom and pop corner shop store. Listen, maybe you survive for a few years, but maybe you get crushed by Walmart, who can, raise the fucking margins on your ass and you've got nothing left to make. Like, the difference is they can survive a year while they're making no money. You can't.
Especially
you have to make your money.
Investors too,
of course. So then that's why SK got involved, Zen, and why they got the Brazilian team, is that whole deal was, in fact, this is why they had to get the team. The deal was, if they could get that team, then they would get these millions from these investors and both parts of the deal would come together. And then they would have a sick team, which they did. But that's also, by the way, why they didn't stay with that team. Because it was just a business thing. Like there wasn't some like deep love between the org and the players or any of that guff that they all try and sell you on. The difference is though, at least in other teams, sometimes there's a grain of that. There was none of that in this. It was just a business deal. So like, unfortunately, like that spirit happened across the industry. So my main issue is this. If you want esports to make money, none of us should make this much. Like, it doesn't make sense that Hooney can make $1 million. There's no way he could ever earn that back for his team. But at the same time, like everything in esports, unfortunately, is built towards the idea that it has to get bigger. I don't agree with that personally, but it's just everyone else's mentality. So if it has to get bigger, then we have to raise the salaries. And obviously, in a way, it becomes like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Like if you go to a big sports team and you tell them your game's worth millions and it's going to generate millions, but we're going to get to pay this player $500, well, something doesn't add up there, does it? Like, why is he only at $500? Exactly. You got to kind of fit the part, It's like that famous saying they have where it says like you dress for the job you want. Because the idea is you don't come along dressed in like fucking tracky bottoms and a t-shirt and go, yeah, it'd be brilliant in this law office. It's like they're going to just fucking turn you away instantly, aren't they? If you come along looking slick, like you look fresh, they feel like you already belong. Don't they? Like, oh, this guy would be a great transition to come in. So basically, esports right now we're basically like the rapper who just sold his first few mixtapes and just got his first studio deal. We haven't actually got the money yet, but everything we talk about in our raps is about how we got all the money, all the bitches, we kill all of our rivals, sell the most drugs. We're literally flossing with like a 10K chain that we claim is a 50K chain, and we literally only have 2K in the bank, but we've got the 10K chain, so now people think we've got the 50K in the bank, and you build it up like that. It's a confidence scheme.
Of course, or you can even go the other way. People going in overqualified for like positions and stuff like that. People coming in like, oh no, you got too much stuff. No, we don't want you. We don't want to take you. You got too much weight on you.
Luckily, that'll never happen in esports. That part won't happen, of course. The problem will never be someone being overqualified in esports.
Of course.
Do you have any thoughts on this topic, Zen?
I mean, for me, like you said, you talked about the top-heavy part. For me, what worries me is more the bottom teams. Like Boomich was talking about that they had some issues, receiving prize money and so on. And this is second tier. It's not even like whatever minor leagues. This is
not like AA ball.
Yeah. So if you go a bit down, it's still very bad. And then if you're in that limbo, let's say even if you wanna be in LCS. But you stay in academies, that's a smart thing for you as a person, getting paid whatever. Money doesn't even matter. You're wasting away the best 5 years of the start of your career for nothing. So that's what worries me. But I mean, people still want to play video games, so that's not going away. Yeah.
Yeah, let me think. Because basically, like one of the big problems is the thing I said before about how the whole impetus in esports is like get bigger, get more like traditional sports. You put in place league structures that are like traditional sports. Well, there's another problem right there, right? Off the top of my head, I believe there's 30 franchises in the NBA. I could be wrong on that. Could be 32.
Like
maybe
32, something.
Maybe it's 16 or 14 each conference, whatever. So it's either 28 or 32, I'm going to guess, right? If it's 32, well, here's the problem, right? If I asked you, who's the 33rd best basketball team in America? You couldn't name it. You wouldn't be able to. And that's the problem. The drop-off from 32nd, the worst franchise in the NBA, to the 33rd best team in America would be insane, wouldn't it? Because they wouldn't be part of the NBA, so they wouldn't get any of that money. They wouldn't have access to the TV market. They're barely going to have any players. In fact, if you know anything about grassroots scenes in sports, nowadays they wouldn't even go to that team. They'd go to like Europe and play basketball and to the best European team or something, or China or whatever. So the problem is everything you hear that's a positive about the future of esports and franchising is only a positive for the team in the franchising who whisks all the money. If you want to be the team who gets caught outside, you're shit out of luck. So what I'll say is that those are the people where at the moment they make okay money, they'll make close to fucking nothing if franchising comes in. Like again, try being an Overwatch team that isn't in the Overwatch league. I mean, there's almost no point. Like, you can't do anything with it. You're not going to make any money with it. You have no access to the whole market of where people are even going to maybe one day, perhaps, possibly, probably not make money. But, you don't even have that dream. You're just stuck on the outside. You're like the little fucking orphaned kid rubbing on a window that's all steamed up at Christmas, looking in like at some family, like, hey, go kids, open all the presents, are you? And you're just looking in like some little pauper, like, well, back to my sewer. That's your world. It's dark. It's fucking dark, mate. I'm telling you. Whereas I have to say, this is one thing I always say to people who are into franchise leagues. Listen, sell me all day on the business benefits. You might even be right. You might know more than me about that. I don't claim to be an expert on business. They always overstep their bounds, though, because what they always do, because they're natural liars, they always try and sell you that it's better for competition. I tell you how I can prove it's not better for competition. So everyone knows for the last 4 or 5 years, we've had most of the LCS orgs have tried having CSGO teams. Most of the big orgs in esports, many outside orgs have even come in and bought in. Go to the hltv.org top 20 right now and look how many teams in the top 10 aren't even vaguely big esports orgs. Look how many teams in the top 20, only the CS team is famous. That proves that when you have an open circuit, it's not about who has the most money. Like, if you just get some good players and you're from Finland, cool. Suddenly you're beating the second best team from NA. That can happen. Doesn't matter that in NA they're paying higher salary, they have more players, bigger esports scene. It can happen. Whereas the difference is, in a franchised league, there would be no Ents. They wouldn't have been invited. Whereas in the franchise league, Cloud9 and NiP could have had these same shit lineups they've had for the last year, and no one would punish them. There would be no Ents to beat them because Ents wouldn't be in the franchise league. So as bad as it is now, Zen, and it is in its own way, like you're right, there's people who are playing at tier 3 who are probably making like $900 a month. To be fair, maybe some of them live in a country where that's okay, but it's not great. Like, that's one of the reasons, by the way, why I think personally you don't see the same grassroots scene in places like Norway and Sweden and stuff as you used to back in 1.6, is people who are older. It's not a career to be a tier 3 player in those games, You have to basically make it to the top as a pro, or there's no point doing it so professionally. You may as well just play for fun, right? Why not just play 2 hours and have a life? So it's unfortunately on that angle, it's probably only going to get worse. Like, what will happen is, in 10 years, if esports is massive, if you are Nico, Simple, whoever the equivalents are, then you'll have an amazing contract. Maybe you have $5 million. The difference is the guy who's the 200th best player in the world might make fucking $500, which is probably less overall than he does now, believe it or not.
Yeah, it'll be a huge drop off.
Which, if you think about it, is just a feature of every franchise league. Like, every franchise league has a limited amount of spots, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, they're all limited. They all have a certain amount, and even like
like half those teams in those franchise leagues, you have that one team that's always on the bottom of the barrel for like 10 years straight. Like in like hockey, I think it was like the Oilers for like a whole bunch of years. They always got the first round draft pick for year after year after year. And if there's an open league, you're gone. Goodbye. Get out of here.
Yeah, that's the problem.
Huge draft picks and like, we'll be good in 5 years. We got a 5-year plan here, boys. Don't worry. We promise we'll be good. Don't worry.
If you have a relegation system like we do in football, so you can just get kicked out. And by the way, that even has what people don't know is Americans say this, like, they always think they're like reinventing the wheel every time, mate. I don't know why. Like, they'll come and tell people of European sports. No, but you have to understand relegation is bad because you could like lose all your investment. Yeah, we know. Some of the biggest clubs in England, no joke, actually, when they hit hard times, got relegated and never came back. Like, I assume you follow football, right, Zen?
Yeah.
Right? When I was a boy, this is not an exaggeration, the first ever Premier League was, I think, in like 1992 or something. And it was won by Leeds United. That team has since gone bankrupt and isn't even in the Premier League, right? They're probably in like the second division now or something. Yeah. Like, you can lose everything. But the point of that was, that's just business, isn't it? That's also how a company can go. You can be the fucking, like, Yahoo was the shit in 2000. It's not much now, is it? Nobody uses Yahoo. So, like, the problem with these systems is the franchise league exists for the franchises. They're the people who they care about. They don't really care about the players. They're just the cattle. They don't care about the fans except to make the money. It's just about making the people in the franchise happy. That's why I jokingly call them a cartel. They basically are. They're just a bunch of powerful people got together and said, why don't we just run the whole game board ourselves and not ever let anyone else come in and beat us? And then they turn to each other.
Territory.
Brilliant idea. Now let's light a cigarette and laugh at the poor. So, you know. What should we shift topics? It's got a bit dark now, a little bit. It's getting political almost, isn't it? So
that's not too dark. You always go more south. You always can keep going south.
So maybe going back to the good teams, or the teams that at least do well in this new world. So Team Liquid now has been killing it in basically all of the sports. So they're final playing now in LCS. They were final of TI. They're the best team in CSGO. What do you think makes them the best? Or is it just getting the most expensive people? Obviously, that's not the only thing, but is that...
No, but here's the thing, mate. You say that as though, like, that would be, like, an easy step one. Like, just get all the best players. It's like, stop right there. Step one's fucking amazingly hard. Like, you think Cloud9 can do step one. They've got the money. They can't get any of the fucking players to sign. So I would say start at step one there. Yeah, if you look at every single game, you look at Dota, you look at CSGO, you look at League of Legends, all their teams are stacked with really good players. And I'm not talking like, this guy could be good in a year. It's like, he's good now.
Yeah.
You know, like I made this point about Team Liquid. What makes the Team Liquid CSGO squad crazy is literally every player was a star player carrying an NA team 2 or 3 years ago. Every single one. Every single player was it's like if I took a team now, and like this is an exaggerated version, but I made a team tomorrow that was Ziwu and Simple and Sergey and Nico. Like, you wouldn't even think to make that team, right? Because actually, not only would it be incredibly expensive, you got to convince them all to join. And then thirdly, we all know there's been plenty of super teams that failed, right? So I actually think, as a hallmark, you have to say the general approach Team Liquid takes is that they do sign the best players they can, and they don't wait for bullshit, potential. They just sign you now because you're good. But that is a skill in itself. To convince people to join like that is not as easy as people think. And anyone who's followed sports knows having the best roster doesn't mean you win the league. Like, you got to have great coaching, good structure, team culture, so that someone doesn't just leave the next year if the aforementioned Noel Winston comes in, offers him twice as much, but you already had a good situation with him. You want him to stay, ideally, as long as it's still a good deal. So there's one angle. I think the other angle is, like I say, they've finally managed to also get the right pieces in place to like guide that talent. So if you look at the coaching in most of their games, I think they do a pretty good job generally. They've hired the right people because they've hired, crucially, the person who can manage big egos and superstar players and stuff. So, and then I'd also add in, this will be a harsh thing to say, but there's a reason nobody's copying their playbook, right? Even if Cloud9, I think they could get the same money and could buy the same players. They wouldn't, because here's the problem, right? When I say everyone loses money in esports, generally, like most of the orgs, what I mean by that is they all know that that's the expectation. They don't expect to make a profit next year. Their logic goes like this. I can survive the next 5 years. Can your org? And if the answer is no, then I win. It doesn't matter whether you beat me in the mean. You could win 5 TIs in the meantime. If that doesn't help you get the next round of investment and start building monetization into your company, you will be bust in 5 years. Those 5 TIs will be on a Wikipedia somewhere helping nobody. Meanwhile, maybe I came 8th every time, but when you drop out, I take your spot, I get your players, whatever it might be, right? In that scenario, I can win by the waiting game. Here's the problem. A lot of orgs, the C9s, the TSMs of the world, they're trying to play it half and half. They're trying to like lose not too much money, but spend just enough to get some pretty good players to have a chance to win. And they're trying to marry the two. Team Liquid basically has gambled and said, I'm going to go all in. I'm going to buy all the best players and win now. And I'm going to hope that winning now can be parlayed into even bigger media sponsorships and, you know, deals like that. And hopefully esports catches up. But here's the problem. Unlike those other orgs I mentioned, Team Liquid is killing it right now, but they have a way bigger timer on their success than the other orgs. Like they probably have half the window, I would guess, because not only have they already spent loads of money, they've also taken a lot of investment. And every time you do that, you dilute down your own shares in the company. So like if they want to take another 50 million, well, now they themselves aren't going to have much equity in the company. So the problem they've reached is they've kind of like, I guess the analogy I would give is like, it's like, this is the reason why I always thought the game Mario Kart actually wasn't a fun game to play with friends. Because if you're actually good at Mario Kart, we all know that it's actually shit to be leading the race because your idiot friend just gets the shell and fires it to you right before you go over the finish line, doesn't it? So the problem with Team Liquid is they have to get to the finish line before the shell is fired, basically. There's your analogy.
They're the front runners right now.
And in esports, there's plenty of fucking shells coming, mate. In fact, the whole track might just fall off a cliff. You don't know. Maybe we're all going off a cliff. It doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, but it's like, think about how long it took NA to even be good in CS. It took a while for them. So just taking that gamble and buying those 5 players, like who even knew that they were even going to be good? So that took forever for them just to get to a spot where they've been. Like, how many times has an NA team even been number 1 in CS?
So as far as I know, it would only be like 2 or 3 times max. And even then, those other ones are way back in history and they would be more tenuous. You know, like maybe they were number 1 2 months or something. You know?
Yeah, they could have ended just exactly like how FaZe ended up. They could have the exact same route there.
Of course.
They gave all the best players up. Let's take a risk on this. Just throw all the money up. Oh, nope, we didn't succeed. Well, I guess we're going to just hold on for dear life and see if we get anything out of it now.
Yeah, there's also, by the way, the big downside. People don't. This is why no one gets credit when they buy all the best players. Because, first of all, people who don't have your players just make it like, oh, this is unfair. You should just win. It's like, that's not the way the game ever works. Like, and then secondly, what they don't realize is you can very easily paint yourself into a corner by getting the best players. Because the real reason FaZe hasn't made the changes they need is because when you look around their team, it's hard to get your brain over the idea of like, should I really remove Guardian? Dude, it's Guardian. Like, how can I remove him? But okay, can't remove Guardian. Fair enough. Let's go with it. Olofmeister. He was the best player though, wasn't he? Nah, I can't remove him, right? Go on, Rain. He's one of my best players. It's like, there's no one left. Like, at the end, you've got no one you can remove, but you know you must remove someone. It's way easier when you've got a shit player. Like, when you, like, listen, if you've got Sticko and you don't want him anymore, you're not crying all night long, oh, poor Sticko, oh no, I've kicked Sticko, woe is me, I am the man who kicked Sticko, I will walk in sackcloth all night. No, you don't even think about it, do you? You press a button and probably somewhere in a bed somewhere, an ejector seat just fucking fires him out of the house. Like, who gives a shit? Like, you just get the next guy, you don't care. It's easy to cut people who are rubbish. It's hard to make that ruthless cut when it's someone who maybe was your friend, maybe you won with him, maybe he was a great player. Even worse, the problem with kicking the Guardians of the world, I mean, look what happened when Guardian left Na'Vi. Everyone thought he was a bomb after that. Mm-hmm. What if he goes from your team and becomes super sick elsewhere? Now, that shouldn't really factor into how you think, but it does. People think that shit. I mean, you think MIBR aren't thinking now, even though they know Stewie 2K didn't work in their team, they're obviously looking at Team Liquid like, why the fuck did we give him the Team Liquid, though?
Of course. Why not just shackle him?
Yeah. Why don't we send him back to Cloud9, for fuck's sake? He could have done no damage to us there.
Like all the professional teams, they just hold on to him. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, so we got the trade deadline coming up. Let's not give it to any of our divisional teams. Let's go give it to the other side of the globe. Okay, here we go. Take it.
That's actually a theory Richard had that I think does make sense. That's why I think Cloud9 was willing to sell the players to MIBR. because their logic was like, hey, listen, it's not NA, still not Team Liquid, is it? So if I'm going to have to sell them, fuck it. Sell them to the South American team, not my main rival in North America, where it's the same fans we're competing for, you know? And that was actually vaguely smart if they really were thinking that way. If you have to sell them.
Buyout was high at the time, but like the highest or something, right? So,
sure, but in that scenario, like, I know it sounds mad to say this, like, how could Shuike not be worth 500k? It's like, you're not really getting, like, put it this way, what do you think they used that 500k for? You can't buy 3 more Stewie 2Ks. So, unfortunately, even though, yeah, the buyout was sick, unless you're a small team, I don't think the buyout's usually worth it. It's worth it for a small one, because, like for example, the dumbest person in the whole Brazilian scene is whoever owns Team 1, because they really could have sold their players to Immortals and MIBR and made, like, you know, 50, 60k on each transfer. Instead, they're going to keep those players in their team, and I guarantee most of you in this chat couldn't name 3 players who play for Team 1. So that's all you need to know. They're not getting anything from it themselves. They're just not getting the money they could have. Whereas instead, if you say to that guy, first of all, dude, you could get other players from Brazil that are not that far off this level and have $300,000 in your back pocket. To me, that deal makes sense for everyone. The player gets to go to the better team. You get a lot of money that you could do a lot with your org. If your team won, 300k probably do a lot. You could invest in a new game, build out a facility, all sorts of cool shit. Again, make yourself look more professional. You've even done a deal with MIBR. Now you could use that as a way to, like, build your profile, get bigger.
Another wave of players and just sell
there's a million. That would be the obvious solution. Yeah, just become a farm team. Just start finding talent, selling them on. Every time you find them, maybe you sell them on for 10 times as much. Brilliant. So that's a cool little business.
Yeah, especially if you can somehow sign them to like a year or two, even though like anyone that's going more
they'll all sign
contract
they'll
is
all
like
sign.
an idiot. But
yeah, but the problem is you'll never convince a young person of that. I don't blame them either. Like, the entire world is set up to trick you. Like, I always tell people, what you should actually do is think the opposite whatever anyone tells you who's from any sort of a business or the government. So if they tell you, like, it's good to be in debt to go to university, it's like, why would that ever be good? That doesn't make sense, mate. It would only be good if I had a guaranteed job. Like, that would make sense. Like, if you told me I'm going to take 100k, but you start on 50k and I guarantee you a 5-year job, yeah, that actually makes sense. The economics on that check out, mate. Yeah, I'll do it. There's the 100k. Did I get the exam right? Now, cool. Instead, if I find out afterwards I could be applying for the same job I would have applied for without the degree, but have 100k in debt, doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So unfortunately, you can tell players all day long, listen, if you join this team for 2 years, you can be trapped, blah, blah. The problem is this, right? There's 2 factors. One, they still think 2 years means it's guaranteed. So it's not. That was never a clause in the contract.
because they don't even read the contract either.
And then the other part, which is the maddest one ever, is when you tell them, yeah, but what happens if you fall off, right? There's not a single pro player in the world wants to hear that. They'll all go, well, I won't. And you go, no, well, no, I know what you mean. Like, you hope you won't, but what if you did? Well, I won't. I'll never be. I've had players who are shit at the game now tell me that they will never be bad at Counter-Strike. And I was like, well, you know what? That's like me just turning to someone going, don't reckon I'm going to die, actually. Probably just going to tell them about 300. You know, I don't believe in dying. You know, all those people before me dying, fucking idiots. I think I'll just stay alive. It's like, that's a brilliant theory, but it's not going to mean anything, is it? You know, like, I should probably still go get my heart checked out when I'm about fucking 70.
Yeah, right.
Is there anything more specific to, like, games in general rather than the scene we want to talk about here?
Let's see. What I got? So.
Like, did you say you watched League of Legends or not?
Yeah,
Zen?
no, I touch the league. Yeah,
Do you watch League at all, Zen?
yeah, I mean,
Oh, you do as all, right? Okay, fair enough. Is there any league topics you want to talk about?
Specifically with league, just like where it's going. What do you think it would be going? Like, seeing how like Korea's been making a little bit of a drop off, haven't they? Since as of late, just because they might be getting paid lower than all the other teams. So the Koreans are leaving now. They're getting shipped out to like the NA teams, EU teams, or even China. They're becoming better now by taking in those imports. Beforehand, the imports weren't as good, but now that they're starting to suck them out, they're sucking actually Korea dry now.
Sure.
Are they actually starting and now seeing like NA, EU starting to become good? Is there actually something to it that Korea can do they have to increase their salaries to do something? Because even then what I'm seeing is like a bunch of the organizations are changing to. It's never the same sponsor or the team name every year. There's always a new team name that comes into their league. And it's not just from relegation either.
like one area that's interesting is, remember, first of all, because of the relegation still existing, there isn't franchising in LCK. It's the only major league that isn't franchised right now, which is a big deal because on the one hand, first of all, shows how shit franchising is. Literally 3 of the top teams in LCK this split were all promoted within the last year. Yeah. So Griffin, Damwon, Sandbox, they all came in within the last year. So if this was a franchise league, they wouldn't be in the league. Maybe a couple of the players would be scouted, but almost certainly most of those players wouldn't. Then you've got to add that they are going to bring franchising. It's just obvious they're going to do it every region. Now, when they bring franchising in, because you can at least set up a business plan that a business guy can see and go, oh, I vaguely understand this, you might get people to buy back in. But you're right. If you look over the last few years, go back to the beginning of OGN with League of Legends, and there are actually big names that came out of the game and just said, fuck it. Like, obvious example is Samsung. Samsung's a huge company. They just got the fuck out of League of Legends. Yep. The problem is, for a lot of these companies, it was actually already a lie to Westerners that they were as big as they were. Like, just because it says SK Telecom, mate, don't imagine that the budget for their League of Legends team is like $5 million. It isn't. Like they're getting, for considering their SK Telecom, they're getting a hell of a deal compared to...
101, chopped overhead.
Like, put it this way, I mean, they actually have, obviously, some companies like Verizon, etc., and Comcast have bought into like Overwatch League teams and stuff. But if they ever had their own entire org, they would invest way more just as a point of principle. Like, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it properly. And, you know, we're the biggest. So in we come and here's the money. Whereas in Korea, they were never like that anyway. They were already kind of like running the margins pretty clean. Yep. And then secondly, there's the whole angle where I actually think this is something we've talked about quite a lot on my league talk shows. The main area I think Korea is in big trouble is because they so fundamentally changed like the basics of how League of Legends, the game works. They're in deep shit because what the real secret of Korea, the real like emperor has no clothes moment, is that it turns out Korea doesn't have genius strategical coaches. That was a myth. That basically came from the players.
Yeah,
like here's the problem. Maybe Koma is a genius in terms of like subbing someone in or finding like a new person out of solo queue. Maybe. I might give him a little bit of credit. But as far as I can tell, Faker was the shot caller. Faker probably designed how the jungle played around him. Faker changed his own style of play. Like we all thought that it was a Korean guy doing that because we've all been sold this line that like, look, they had StarCraft and then they all came over with the infrastructure. And you just spam the word infrastructure over and over again until people believe that everything must be advanced there. But as far as I've been told by a lot of people who know quite intimately, that whole thing's kind of a bit fake. And so the problem they're having now is when they all need to completely like remodel their games, they've got coaches who are still doing shit like, but look, G2 plays this in mid lane. Why can't you, Faker? And it's like, well, that doesn't make sense for my team. No, look, they won the game against Splice. Like, I'm trying to tell you, coach, shut the fuck up. Like, no, but look, and in LPL it won. Like, are you my coach or a fucking Reddit fanboy? What is this shit? Like, is this Reddit does the draft? What, you know, like, unfortunately, there are coaches like that in Korea, which I actually secretly knew. I just didn't know it even applied to some of the top ones. I knew it in as much as my favourite player in League of Legends is obviously the Korean top laner Flame, right? I've always told people my least favourite team in League of Legends is whatever Korean team Flame is playing for. Because they used to like so poorly game plan, draft. And I actually met the guy who was this main coach for CJ. And you'll like this because I just bantered the fuck out of him 1 second into meeting him. Like I met him and we were waiting in this corridor, and in this corridor they had this big trophy cabinet. And remember, because they'd bought the Azubu teams that before that used to be the best in Korea, they had like OGN trophy, like World's runner-up medal, like fucking OGN Invitational, some IEM. They had all these trophies, and he goes, he points to the trophy cabinet. He goes, "You like? We won them all." And I go, "Well, the players won them. You didn't win them. You." And I pointed to this shitty little like World Cyber Games one at the bottom. I went, "You won that one. That was CJ Enter's players." I said, "All the other ones didn't it? Like that was Azubu Frost. That was Mig Frost." It's like, "Why are you taking credit?" Luckily though, he just thought it was like, this is actually how you get away with shit in Korea. He just sort of was like, haha, thinking I was joking, which is like, I was sort of, but I was also kind of being an asshole at the same time, like spitting the hard truths, you know? But yeah, as a result, there's the biggest problem is like, yeah, as you say, there's already been a lot of factors that have evened the playing field. And the problem is Korea actually, I don't think is primed to succeed in an even playing field. In a world where everyone has a chance, they needed all those advantages they had, dude. They needed all the best players. They needed the meta somehow, like the real magic of League of Legends is, for some bizarre reason, it never went like Dota, where in Dota the meta was always very open. You could pick so many heroes, you could play so many different styles, you could play at different speeds. In League, there was always like generally a better way to play, like a more by the numbers, like efficient way.
It was like a legit meta. Like,
and it was literally the way that Koreans would want to play anyway. Because what Koreans do in every game is they think that everything in life's like an engine. You just break it down into its constituent parts. You make sure they're all clean, that they all fit in. You screw them back in. You press the button, and it's all supposed to work. It's like, if you look at the way G2 plays League of Legends, there's nothing like that, is it? It's like their equivalent is if I just literally a tornado blew through a fucking garbage heap and I threw a carburetor, a fucking bicycle handlebar, some propeller blades from a helicopter, and at the end, somehow, randomly, they just had like a brand new machine that no one's ever seen, that they're flying out of the junkyard. Like, what?
yeah, they're doing MacGyver style.
Yeah, whereas like Korea in that position's fucking shit out of luck. Like, if you notice, they keep doing it. Like, I've been watching LCK. They have changed their style, but every time they change their style, it's like, right, this is the new way we all have to play. It's like, well, no, the point was there isn't like a set way. No, this is the new way we have to play. It's, Jesus, they're not getting it. Like, Coma, you're supposed to like play on the fly and stuff. Yeah, on the fly. Exactly like this. Like, no, you failed again. Never mind. Right, bring Faker in. Faker coming in, like, I know you secretly coach the team, so here's what you need to know. So anyway, it's not a good situation.
No, that's very like strict and stringent. That's got to be like, it's just like throwing numbers. It's like, you throw a bunch of numbers, like, oh, nope, it's always going to equal this because you got to follow the rules of math. You can't do anything outside of it. Outside of rules of math, everything's off. While you're going into the G2, they're just going in anywhere. They'll find anything to find a win. They're willing to do anything. There's so much open. They're not afraid to do something that's open, which, for the most part, hasn't been seen by many people for League. Just because they just, I'll just go to the top lane today. I'm just going to play a top lane champ. Why not? Could work. Who knows? We'll figure it out.
Zen, give me your prediction. Do you think that Korea, like, obviously they have good teams. Do you think they can be the best again? Do you think they'll take over again?
I mean, not best overall region, but I think SKT or Griffin, if they are in a, good trend, they could win Worlds. I don't think they're favorite these days. I mean, China has so many so good teams that it's crazy. G2 obviously is a contender. So yeah, I think they're still, if the meta slows down a bit or Vision becomes, I don't know, more accessible or something, maybe they have a chance to go back. But otherwise, if Riot continues to push the meta in, nerfing Vision, just making crazy champs, then I think, they won't come back.
I would even think Korea would be an outlier. Maybe they just get one team that maybe sneaks through. Other than that, I don't know about their other two teams that might even come up. Just because that now all their players are going to be spread out. All their top players are spread out now because it's an open league. So you can have those teams that come in through relegation. Sure. Those best teams aren't going to pick them up anymore. We just created our own team. We're going to go through relegations. Okay, we move up. Now that top team isn't going to get anymore. So now all their good players are going to be spread out to different teams. Now you got to keep going down the ladder. And the top players in the world aren't going to, or the top players in Korea aren't all going to be on the same team anymore. You're not going to have that super team like G2 can make, because they can just snag all the players. They could just snag it right out of Fnatic. It's like, nope, we'll just take that player from you because we're going to pay the good salary, and we're still in the league anyway, so we'll just take it.
That's why I think it is inevitable, unfortunately, that they will do franchising. Because again, if you're just the top teams in the big companies, is what you want. You basically, like, what people don't seem to realize is, I once heard someone make an amazing point, is, right, when you hear about the government regulating an industry, your first thought, because the media wants you to believe this, is, that's going to be terrible for all those businesses, right? Who do you think prompts the government to do this? The lobbyists from the big companies in those industries. So what they do is they make sure that whatever regulations get put in actually benefit them. Like, they'll make regulations, for example, to make it where you have to pay like extra fees and costs that mean like a new competitor in the industry can't keep up. They haven't got the budget to, whereas, maybe you're fine taking the hit to eliminate a competitor. So there's basically, by default, those things tend to favour the people at the top of the scene. So it'll be the same in League. The thing for me that I actually have my concern with, I actually think G2 has to, like, make hay while the sun is out, as it were, and win now. Because I don't know if they'll have the same chance in like 2 years. Because if you just look, it's actually bizarre to me that the changes Riot made over the last year and a half did end up like making Koreans not as favoured. Because remember, Riot has been trying to make changes that in theory should fuck Koreans from day one. So if anyone remembers when SK Telecom came up in Season 3, it was when you could place basically unlimited wards, right? You could just buy wards constantly, put them all over the map. So if you ever saw an SKT game, the reason they were the God tier pick comp team is because they could see half the map. Like, they could just see where you were coming and set up a pick and kill you. Well, then they made it so you had the trinkets. Now we only have 3 wards each. Oh, now you have to get your whole team to ward, not just the jungler. Like, these things all in theory, right, should have made Koreans less OP. The problem is, because they were all related to teamwork, Koreans just leveled that shit up and then just got better than us in all the... So actually, in the end, Vision ended up hurting the Western teams, because even if there are only 3 wards, Koreans make way better use of their 3 wards than we make of ours, so they win again. So it's like every change you thought would fix things tended to somehow Koreans were able to like bend it to their will. So even though at the moment it's heavily gone away from that, I could just easily, bearing in mind, I don't think Riot's, like, no game dev is, but Riot definitely isn't. They aren't smart enough to know what's going to happen when they change things. They're kind of just throwing, you know, to the wind and seeing what's going to happen. Like, I don't know if it's fully even possible, you know, because you are balancing the game for the plebs as well, so you probably can never fully know. But the thing is, sooner or later, I have a suspicion they'll make a change. I don't know what it means. Maybe they get rid of turret plating again, or maybe maybe like as every season, they change the whole jungle and Vision goes with that. Whatever they change, all they have to do is make the wrong change for the West, and boom, Koreans will be right back in there. They'll be back in that ass.
For me,
and you know, the sad thing is, I know they've hardly been away that long. I almost miss them. I almost miss the times when you knew they were going to stomp every series, you know.
Yeah, give some predictability. But that's my point. I think the other big counterpoint is the other regions aren't that consistent. Even if you know that China has loads of huge teams, no one can guess who is actually going to win.
Sure.
Even in Europe, I mean, in 1 week, Splice is definitely making worlds. Next week is like, oh my god, they're getting stomped.
I think it was something ridiculous, like in a 2-week span, Splice went from, the discussion was, are they the real second best team in Europe, to finishing 6th in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And all that happened was 2 weeks of the life just went by.
Changer.
It is.
So many of us. Oh, it's best of ones all day.
And even NA has nothing. I mean, as Team Liquid, but they won't do anything. So it's basically either China sends a good team or 2, or Korea might end up winning just because no one else sent anyone good.
Here's the thing, I'm not actually one of those people who's like, I don't know if you've noticed, but I've never actually been down on this Team Liquid squad. This particular one, the one with Jensen, etc. Like the one where they had Paul Belter, etc., made logical sense to me. That team probably shouldn't be that good internationally. Like there's players who some of their level drops off when they go outside of NA. I actually think with this Team Liquid squad, first of all, they've already, every time they've had a chance, overperformed internationally. And then secondly, if you just look at the players they have, I actually do think their coach is good. I think Kane knows what he's doing. I think he knows how to game plan. So if he goes to the Worlds and finds out on week 1, actually the way we're playing doesn't work that well, they have the pieces to do whatever they want. They can change it up. They can play through fucking mid lane super hard. They could play an acceleration star if they wanted to. I know it'd be a bit weird for Smithy, but if they really, really wanted to, if they told him this is what we need to do to win, they could do it. So unlike some teams from other regions, they have the pieces, I think, to still be very, very good.
As long as they don't figure out the week 2 choke for NA.
Luckily, that hasn't happened for a while, so hopefully that's a thing of the past as well.
Yeah.
And plus, if anything, Riot helped you with that one, didn't they? Because what they did is just made it so that it was like week 2 was different, and it wasn't like the same system as in the past, and they shortened the time of the games.
Like you can't plan. Playoffs. There's no planning for those. It was just bang, bang. Oh, just play 3 games and just figure it out. Figure it out as you go. No planning, no game plan. Just go out there and whatever strategy it is, it is.
It's because the problem is, I don't disagree with them. If you just want to make it, air quotes, exciting for fans, that's a way to make it exciting. You can have a lot of crazy results.
Random. It just becomes an ARAM. Just random. And eventually.
You can have a lot of crazy results.
But aren't you worried that they have no real opponents? I mean, okay, maybe C9 now when they're very focused, but for the whole year they're basically playing against bots, not carrying, and not getting like that real practice. Okay, they're all very veteran, so maybe that they don't.
I think that helps a lot, by the way, the fact that they don't have like rookies.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe they can get away with it, but otherwise, if you spend an entire year with 2 or 3 best of threes that are actually competitive. How can you get to Worlds and be good?
Yeah, you
I
barely
mean,
get
it's tougher. It's definitely going to be tougher.
Yeah, you barely get that experience. One, you don't play like the good teams around the world. You don't get anything like that. Like Rift Rivals has always been a joke, so you don't get any of that. You're just playing best of ones all year. When you really, in theory, like if you're gonna make the playoffs in Worlds, you want to play those best of threes, and eventually you're gonna be playing a best of five. So it's like you never really get that real experience, except for the teams that you're playing at locally that might not even be that good. So you're not really getting the real feel for it until you get to Worlds. It's like, oh, you spent an entire year to figure it out. Well, let's go see if you learned anything. Oh, you didn't make it? Well, you got next year now. You got your little experience. Now you got to wait until next year, and hopefully you make it and you learn from your experience.
Do you think if they do badly, they revamp the roster? Because, I mean, they're killing it in NA, so that's their market. It's not the prize money of Worlds.
Oh, you mean if they do badly at Worlds?
Yeah.
I would suspect no. Like, here's the thing. I do actually think, this is one of the reasons I've always said I thought actually that Liquid 112 was the best GM in NA. I believe if he actually could upgrade, I think he would do it to most players. Like, I don't care what anyone says. Like, you might think like, but Impact has won all those tournaments. If he could get the Shy tomorrow, he'd do it. I'm guarantee you.
Yeah.
If he could, if the Shy would sign, he would sign him tomorrow. If Faker could sign, he'd sign tomorrow.
Yeah.
The problem is like, will you ever get the opportunity to go that high? Because if you notice at the moment, he might have reached the threshold. He's got all the NA region players. He got Cordia J. That was a pretty big signing. That guy could obviously have gone to a Korean team. That's a pretty good one. But the question is, will he get like the rookies of the world, etc.? That feels to me like it's nothing to do with money. It's just that like, I think some of those people wouldn't want to go to NA. Like it's less competitive. Like that's the biggest problem you're always going to have is someone like Faker. They don't play for money, mate. They play to be the absolute best. And so it doesn't matter if you offer them 10 times more. Unless they've lost their motivation for the game, in which case, why would you want them at that point in time? They're probably not going to come. It's kind of a catch-22 in that scenario. Like, I know that someday probably could have gone to a Korean team, gone back to Korea, but since you probably make less money, I don't think he cares anymore about winning. I think he had like half a decade he tried that, came close a few times, did all right sometimes, won one time. Okay, great. Now it's time to have a victory lap and get a few years of fucking massive salaries from 100 Thieves and go brilliant. And then I'll have every NA fan be like, yeah, I love you someday. It's like, brilliant. This is awesome. Not getting any of the abuse I used to get all the money, got being coached by Kelsey Moser now. This is fucking sick. I used to love her on narrative work. So. I wonder if he even knows. I bet he doesn't. I bet someday genuinely has no clue who Westerners are. So he doesn't even know that his coach in academy was just one of our co-hosts, one of our talk shows. Like, I guarantee he has no clue whatsoever, which is hilarious, obviously, because it's like
you never know the connection until you actually like bring him out into the open.
Little does he know.
Like you don't do the research, you don't think about it, you just play. It's like, oh, I know who you are, but you really don't know like what they've done to get there and who they connected with.
I mean, put it this way. Because obviously, listen, there's still players you could obviously sign that are in LCS. Like, yeah, maybe if the team doesn't work, you try and reshuffle, right? Like, who would you like to see play for Team Liquid? Who would be some names you would put forward? Like, make them reasonable, though. Like, so let's do some, like, LCS region players. Like, who could they add? Like, if they had to, so let's imagine Worlds goes terribly, don't get out of groups. You can pick who you want to blame. Can be Impact, maybe Smithy did badly, maybe even Jensen fucks it up. Who knows, right? Who in NA do you think would you like to see on Team Liquid? What would be a name?
I think either Cubs or Perks. I think that would be the...
If we're bringing over Europeans on those ones, then we can do that as well if you want.
I mean, if it's from NALCS, that's hard. I mean, maybe Froggen, but that would be... Okay, double lifts. Now it's a different deal. Let's try something different. I don't know if that would actually improve Team Liquid, so... I don't think there's anyone in NALCS that would massively improve them.
Who's had runs in Worlds? Because isn't that what Liquid's looking for? They're looking for the deep run in Worlds, so they'll find someone that has experience that still has their mechanics down.
The real problem is some of the names that you'd want just aren't in a good spot. Like, for example, if you'd have asked me to make an upgrade, I would have sworn coming into this year Licorice should be an upgrade over Impact. He can play absorb pressure like Impact can, and in theory he's a better carry player. The problem is, like Licorice just fell off this year, didn't he? He wasn't as good. Like he's still a pretty good player. He plays in NA, isn't a great region for tops, but he's still a good player. But actually right now, I can't even lie, I'd take Impact over Licorice at the moment. Like Impact's fucking killing it. He's having a very good split. So like that was actually one of the few upgrades on paper that would have made sense because it's like a younger player, also any region. There's like a million factors go in favour of it. Aside from that, it's tough to pick anyone. Like, for example, Sven Skaren probably is the MVP of the league. But would I want him over Smithy? Smithy's a pretty fucking good player as well. Like,
yeah, he's been playing great.
I don't think you can go wrong with either of those two,
Yeah, like I say, at the start of the season, I would probably replace Xmiti, but he's been playing so well, it just makes no sense.
Found out team chemistry.
Yeah, he played it.
That's how
like,
with them so
you
well.
predict the team chemistry at all.
No, that's also one of the problems with making
That's a
teams.
huge one. So you never know who's actually going to be able to work well with another person. And even like kids coming up, like kids that haven't like played in the pro scene before, like they never really have team experience. Like they pretty much have to figure out how to play in an actual like 5-man queue with people while they were playing solo queue their entire lives. Like when they got found out, they're going through Challenger and all that.
And a solo queue, which is even worse.
Yeah, that's a whole nother story. It's like that's true solo queue. There's no team play in it. There's no like real thought about it. It's just like loosely based, and you can't teach that. It's like you can't teach someone how to handle pressure in Worlds or in any type of big tournament. It's just that you better hope that they know how to do it. Like you can maybe give like some type of coaching other than that, but until you're really in the moment, you really don't know if they're going to be a good pick or not.
That's actually why a really scandalous element of League of Legends, and it's something I mentioned years ago, is that it wasn't until recently that they actually allowed pro players to do in-house games where you would just go and play on the tournament realm in the studio or wherever, and you just play with like a pickup basically, but of pros. Like you make sure they're all real pros. And so the idea is even your off practice is like legit. It's, you're still playing properly. People who know the game. You're not playing some like streamer or griefer or someone who's just a one trick that got in the challenger only on that champion. Like you don't get any of the problems. Well, the reason why that's actually outrageous that took till 2019 to implement is that was literally by default, the method that Dota used to use itself for NA, where it had a very small player population. They would just play in-houses. That's where they found Samael, the guy who joined Evil Geniuses and won the International. That's where they found loads of these players. They found them from having in-houses because the concept was, it's kind of like in CS, FPL. It's the same premise, basically. Everyone playing there is good. To get into the league to play with people, you have to be good. Like, you have to get vetted and vouched for. And if you turn out to be an arsehole, they just kick you straight out. Like, if some guy like Tarzan wants to just be an absolute cunt, he'll just be kicked straight out. Like, he won't be in the in-houses. They'll just say, fuck you, guy, you're out. Like, remember, in FPL, Simple got banned for a week by the pros because he was talking too much shit to him. So they were just like, right, you have to get banned. It didn't matter. He was the best player.
Yeah, good old
he got banned for a week. Yeah, exactly. So Tarzan and all them, they stepped in with the old fucking
the VP,
gavel.
the VP power.
I suspend you for a week, and there you go. You had to get the suspension because I always thought that would have been the most logical way, right? Because I'm like naturally, I have like a problem-solving mind. When someone suggests something wrong, I try to think what could be a solution. Yep. And I remember telling people this years ago. I remember saying the same thing to. I basically suggested the concept of FPL way before Faceit existed and way back when actually players themselves could have done it. I told them what you need is, if you're telling me all the time that there's no point playing matchmaking because in CS obviously is way worse than like ranked is in League, and on top of that you're saying your scrims are bad, I said, why not just get a group of really good players that you trust? Like, I trust this 10 players, this 5 players. Say you get a group, it's like 40 players. Between 40, you're going to have at least a game going every hour or two because there's going to be 10 people out of 40 around. So all you do is just vet the people and then have quality in-game practices like that. Now, the real reason they wouldn't do it, aside from the fact players are notoriously lazy, is they all had like personal beefs that they didn't want to put aside. Like, yeah, but I hate that guy. He talks shit on me. Like, yeah, well, which are you trying to do? Beat him in a petty battle or win Worlds? Which is it? Like, do you want to win the major or do you want to beat this cunt in the qualifier for the next major? I can pick one of those easily. Like, to me, if you have a big ego, you should want to win Worlds, not smite this little guy who's tiny down here with you.
Oh, I got him good. Well, you're no longer in the pro scene. Congratulations. Wait, what?
It's like one of the most fake things ever. I think people now have some idea of this, right? Whenever like a Danish team goes out and then all the Danish players like, oh, I hope Astralis goes on to win the tournament now that we're not in, or like the French teams, wow, MBK is cheering for G2s. Is he fuck? I've seen those people in green rooms and stuff. They're loving it when their team from their country is getting fucking reamed by the opponents. Like, because obviously, think about it. They're thinking, haha, fuck them. They're all our enemies and they look shit. Like, they only say that publicly. And also because, let's face it, like, yeah, there is still a degree to which you'd like a Danish team to win just because you're Danish. There might be that angle, but the players themselves, you might hate. You might think they're fucking
maybe
shit.
The Danish, not the French.
Oh, the French. Yeah, the French. They have a lot of beef with each other.
Oh, they have loads.
But they're all competing for the salaries too. So if that team succeeds and they all do well, he's going to be shit out of luck for when the next team gets made.
Of course.
Because he's not going to get the salary. He's not going to be on the big team. So they're kind of thinking like, oh, no. Hopefully this guy does absolute shit. I'm going to take his spot and I'm going to be in there now. I'm going to be running the show there. So there's definitely going to be beef between each other. 100%, because they want to be on that best team. They want to be the next big thing. They want some other guy taking their glories, especially in-house, especially if it's in the same region.
Sure. One thing I will say, though, is like Season 9 for League of Legends, it's had some fucking ropey... Considering everyone's getting excited about all these G2 runs, there's been some fucking bad League of Legends played as well. Like... At this point in time, I almost find it hard to criticize G2 when they do troll picks. It's one of the only things that makes the fucking games interesting.
Yeah, really.
Like you just know they're gonna win otherwise. So it's like, at least if they troll pick, first of all, they still win some of them anyway. And then secondly, hey, at least there's a sweat now. Similarly for Team Liquid in NA, like I made this point to other people. Team Liquid did a comp where they picked all glacials. I think it was versus C9 or TSM and fucking won the game. They did a troll comp and won the game with it. They had like a Nivea mid and stuff.
But what even define as a troll comp? It's like,
those weren't all 5 meta picks though.
It's like,
there's no way they were.
Before doesn't mean it's not going to work. Just because some fan hasn't done it, it's like, oh no, that's bad because I've seen.
No, but in this case, if you put a gun to their head and said, "I blow your brains out if you lose the game," I don't think they lock all those champions in. Mate. I think all of a sudden like Azir comes out and like, oh, maybe I will go for Sejuani actually for this one pick. Like I think they'd have gotten a lot more careful. I know what you mean, like. People go too far the other way. You don't have to only adhere to the meta. Yeah. That's actually the reason why. The sad thing is, I don't yet know if Koreans will win Worlds. Like, I picked Griffin too, but I don't really know where I'm at with that. There's a lot of... Everything's up in the air. I will say this, though. Like, there are some teams that are in other regions that will make for amazing games if they get to Worlds. Like, the obvious ones from Korea...
Marines, when they've done that for years, right?
Sure, but I mean some of the top teams, like Griffin, Sandbox, if those two teams make it, that'll be amazing if they play G2. These teams love to fight. There's the team who's currently top of the LPL, FPX. That's a fucking amazing team with a very, very weird, wonky playing style, but like that'll throw so many teams off if they play them. So, like, if you just want to watch exciting League of Legends, Worlds could be amazing for that. Like, I personally don't think, aside from maybe the Splices of the world, I don't think there's going to be like shit teams go in general. It's just that domestically, I don't think there's been enough competition as I would have expected personally. I thought G2 would at least have some competition in Europe, Like, at the moment, they can lose a best of 1 to Fnatic, but I don't think even Fnatic believe they're winning. Fnatic doesn't believe they're winning the best of 5, I guarantee you that.
Oh, no. They have no faith in that. It's just too much.
Like, they hope they can, hey, we'll give it our best chance and all that. It's like, I don't think they believe it, though. I just don't believe it.
It's like when I went to the Garden when H2K a couple years ago when the Worlds was at was in the United States, and when I went to that, it's like H2K is in the semifinals. I forget who they're even playing, but it's like
Samsung.
Oh yeah, Samsung. I was like, oh, congratulations, we made it there. They were just got 3-0'd and just walked down and started clapping like, yeah, we did great. We had a great year, guys.
Yeah, of course.
That's what they're going to be thinking against Fnatic versus G2. It's going to be like the same deal.
I'm just glad. Like, anytime you watch League of Legends or any other esports games, just take a fucking moment and give gratitude to the fact that CSGO doesn't just get changed like that drastically every year. Yeah. Imagine if they just took like a whole role and just fucking it just changed overnight. Like, well, that doesn't exist anymore. What were you the best in that? Sorry,
or
mate.
Just give the coaches TeamSpeak again. Imagine that. They put that back in. It's like, yep.
I would love that, mate. I would love that change if they did that. That's the move I would revert instantly.
Why would you like that?
Because the level of play was actually higher. Because what you got is loads of the people basically who should be coaches are currently in-game leaders. So if you had that guy on comms with his coach, they would get so much more done in lesser teams. Because the real problem is you have like, first of all, a lot of people who are in-game leaders now, like, God B just retired and became a coach now. Mm-hmm. I bet you he would have never actually fully tried to being a pro again. I think he would have just become a coach a year and a half ago, because he could have had the same team and in-game led them, but just as the coach, and then he could have had Tabs in and another player in and have more firepower. So I actually think the level of play would be higher. Yeah. I get one of the reasons against it, which is, listen, it means if you're Astralis now, you're even more geniuses that you did it without the coach being able to talk.
Yep.
But like, it would basically give a lot more parity to the scene, because then if I have like a team without a great in-game leader, well, I can still hire a sick coach.
Yeah.
That's
you
a way
don't
to
have to think
offset
about
it.
it, because that's just another job you put on the table. Think about what's going on the map, where everything's at. That's so hard to set up, and then you're also thinking about where you're going to place your aimer, where you're going to place your smokes. You have to think all of that on your feet, and as a player, that's insane. But as a coach, when you don't have to actually do any controls or any type of mechanical movement, it's becomes so much easier. You just
like, put it this way.
the whole time.
That player change, the coach can't talk all during the rounds. The kind of person that helped wasn't, like all the idiots thought, the small teams. Because what Valve implied, right, was, yeah, but not every team can afford a coach, so that's an unfair advantage. No, it's the other way around. First of all, a year later, every team could afford a coach. And secondly, the coach would have helped the bad teams. Like, think about it, right? Think logically. Yep. Does Glaive really need Zonic going ham? Not really. Glaive's a fucking amazing in-game leader. Mm-hmm. So Glaive's fine. Karrigan probably is the guy making out like a bandit, because he's now like such an essential part for any international team.
Oh, yeah.
You did the opposite. You made it more stacked towards the top heavy teams that have the great in-game leaders. Yep. Now it's the team who is 15th, who doesn't have a great in-game leader, who's shit out of luck, because that's the position that now they're the weakest at. Whereas if they had like bad in-game leader, but then, for example, I'll pick a name that, just as an obvious one to use at this level. Let's say Hunden was their coach and he could shot call. Yeah. They would be way better. He would get a system going. He'd figure out what to do there, and he wouldn't have to be in the game. That's the key thing. You're not going to recruit Hunden now because he's a terrible player. If he only has to shot call, he would be one of the best coaches in the whole world, hands down. Same with Existence. Loads of these guys, they would be the best. Their teams could win majors.
That'll help them teach the game too. It's like those 5 players in like the tier 2, yet again, bringing back the point that they don't have the experience. Well, maybe if you get a coach that has some experience that's watched all those pro games, they can lessen the load for them. So they all have to think about just playing. It's like, okay, you're doing this setup, and then just repeat that setup while you have a kid, maybe some young in-game leader or some guy doing in-game leader. They never had that experience before. Now they're like stuttering on the mic. They don't know what's going on. It's like, we got 2 people. We're just going to throw smokes here. Just go. And it's so much easier to set up if you have someone delegate and you spread out the wealth a little bit for what they have to do.
Also, think about how many names we've lost that at the moment, they're just gone. Like an obvious one. Think about all the problems they have getting good coaches in the Swedish scene. They could all have had Pronax. If he could talk in the game, he would probably be the coach of Fnatic or Nip or something, like that. That would be the logical career progression for him. Instead, he just wasted the last 3 years. Man, this is what people forget. The problem with Counter-Strike is, Counter-Strike feels like it moves really slow, but when you ever take stock of what's happened, you'll realize it moved twice as fast as you thought. So think back in your mind. Remember when Pronax had made that team Godsend? Yeah. And they made it all the way to the semi-final of the first DreamHack Masters. It was DreamHack Masters Malmo. Like, here's the problem with that whole story. That was in like April of 2016, over 3 years ago. So what has Pronax been doing in the meantime? Fuck all. He's just been playing in like tier 1 million, trying to get through. Like, what people don't know is they think he's been retired. Dude, he's in online qualifiers. His team just goes out in round 2 or whatever. That's an exaggeration. You know what I mean? Like, they just aren't relevant.
Yeah. They have nothing in the scene. You just think that disappear off the scene just because he's so low. Well, if he did have that coach in, it would just fill right in. That would make
You'd
sense.
hope so, yeah. That would be the dream, right?
Yeah. Get those, and then you actually have some type of natural progression for a lot of those pro players instead of just going to casting like what Pimp did. That they actually can do something other than just go like, oh, okay, I'm no longer a good player. Well, I guess I'm maybe going to casting or try that out. It gives them a little more options to do some stuff.
Who's your favorite CS team, Penguin off?
I did like Astralis for a little bit, but just with like how everything's been going, it hasn't been
not a good look, was it?
No. Well, I'm never a diehard fan for anything. Like, I was never a diehard fan. Like, I just watch it to watch it. But Yeah, like I'm not going to oh yep, I live and breathe and die Astralis. Yep, that's go ahead. Like I'm not like how 99% of the plebs are like saying oh yeah, nope, Astralis is the best in this major. They could always be the best.
You have to realize, mate, this isn't even a joke. If I get anyone tweet at me with an Astralis flare as the logo, or their name is Danish, then their argument's going to go like this. Like, say I was like, fuck, can't believe Refresh robbed that bank. But how can you know that he didn't give the money from the bank and say you can borrow for a while? It's like, how fucking gormless are you, can't say. You just believe anything, wouldn't you? Like, what Nicola and Ion should do is forget all the esports business, mate. Yeah. Just go door to door to Astralis fans and sell them all fucking timeshare property. You'll make a fucking millions and they'll never have to go there. Biggest scam of all time, right?
Like, yeah.
Why are you trying to grind out this esports gig? That's fucking hard, mate.
Yeah, but anyways, I never really had team loyalty because the way I think about it, it's like, I'm paying them to watch their stuff or getting their merchandise. Why would I give them any loyalty? Are they giving me anything to watch their games? No. Like, why am I going to live and breathe and die for them? Why? Because they're in maybe my region or something? Like, that's why like I'm in NA, but it's like I'm not going to live and breathe and die Liquid. It's just like they give me nothing for it. It's like it's just entertainment. I just see it as entertainment. They're a fun team to watch. I'll watch it. There's something like that. I don't really have a brand loyalty that I have to live and breathe and die for.
I'm sure I asked you this before, Zen, but who is it you support?
I like just teams that are tactical, so Astralis North. Yes.
Well, the team I want to see come back as a result is whoever the fuck I hope they're signed as a team is the ex-Optic guys. I want to see what MSL actually does now. He's got Config and Cage and like legit players again.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got.
Because think about it, right? In the scene at the moment, everyone's complaining that like. It just shows how you can never win in Counter-Strike. If it's super top heavy at the top, it's just too many good teams win everything. Then if it's like now where like teams 3 to fucking 12 can win, it's just random. There's no good teams. Like, well, which way do you want it, mate? Like they can't all be good. So the point is, in this kind of a scene that's as wide open as it is now, mate, you give someone like MSL some good players, he'll start climbing that ladder real quick. Like he'll get the top 10 real quick. And then beyond that, we'll have to see after that, but certainly be interesting.
Just carry them out. But another thing that I can go into that I really think was important maybe to talk about is like just how all these tournament formats are. Like just looking how TI's been formatted compared to CS, how it's formatted, how the league's formatted. They each have like their own benefits and negatives to it. Just like talking a little bit about like what type of system actually works for it. Because the problem with League is that they only have that one real international tournament. Well, you got the mid-season tournament,
yes.
But other than that, it's like you don't really get experience. Yeah, so you pretty much get 2. But with like how CS is, you get all those teams see each other so many times in those tier 1 events. While you compare it to like some other leagues or some other games that you don't get as much experience with competing against each other. Just how do you think like these world formats or just like these large tournament formats actually display the talent of the top teams?
What do you think on that, Zen? I mean, obviously the interesting thing there is CSGO and League of Legends are such different formats. So what do you think the contrast's like?
Yeah, I really like the open circuit. And then in each tournament, I like the double elim for very big tournaments. Like just this run from Liquid and TI going all the way from the lower bracket. It's insane. Like there is, even if they won, just winning is, for me, it's not as impressive as what Liquid did of getting to the final, winning all those games from the lower bracket. So yeah, obviously you can't have that in all tournaments or it gets a bit tiring. Yeah, and I like GSL. I don't know why people went away from it. I just think it's an easy, standard way of getting groups out of the way. So I don't know why they abandoned that.
Unfortunately, I can tell you it was just like grass is always greener on the other side syndrome, where they were like, I've used this for a while, so whatever I don't use must be better. And then they tried, like the real joke of that is they went to, in IEMs, they went to round robin, which is literally the worst. It's what League of Legends uses, the worst format ever. So like everyone knows at Worlds, there will never be 4 groups that have 0 tiebreakers, right? Always happens. There's always one, right?
Yeah.
Well, you've got a pretty shit system where you need additional games.
I hate the random group, and it's randomly selected too.
Within the pools, yeah.
Yeah, I don't even like how that's selected. Randomly selected best of ones. Like that's a problem that soccer has too. That football has is that they do those. It's pretty much randomly picked. You get your one group of death, and you might have a really good team, but they're not going to move on to the next form. They're not going to move on to the next stage.
I'll tell you something that'll depress you, mate. This is going to depress you because you might think to yourself, well, you know, maybe like, because this is what Riot used to think. That you might think, oh, maybe Europeans just like that kind of a style, and it's more American to like the other style. No. The only reason people in Europe like that is because football is such an old game. It changes very slowly. Like you can't, like when something's established, it's a really old tradition.
Of course.
It'd be like baseball. You're not going to like radically change all the rules tomorrow because like all the hardcore fans will be like, what the fuck? Like this shit I've been following my whole life. So it's the same in football. People think to themselves, whatever is now must be great. Whereas it's like, well, no, it's actually some shit where, like, I always put it like this. If tomorrow football was invented and we started tomorrow with the English Premier League and all that, you'd never design it the way it is now. No, of course not. You'd make all sorts of changes. You'd make it a different format. You maybe wouldn't even have 11 aside. You'd maybe make the rules different. Like maybe you'd get rid of offside or something to make it more exciting, whatever you'd do. You'd definitely do different things in the modern day with the kind of modern viewer. It's just that they don't realise they've put the cart before the horse. Like, they only presented the old format, and then when people followed it, were like, they must like it. It's like, well, they didn't have an option. There's no alternative. Like, how can you know what they would like more? That's actually the cool thing about esports games. It's because you can get so many different game types. Yep. Well, yeah, I guarantee there was a load of people who were playing League 2 years ago who liked the casual side of League, but it wasn't quite casual enough. And so guess what? Fortnite is the perfect game for them. PUBG is the perfect game for them. It's probably a more fun game for them. I get it. They should go play that game. It's for them. Whereas my problem is games like League of Legends already thought they were catering to the casual side. It's like, well, if you're going to keep going more casual, you're going to get less competitive. So that's my whole angle. Like, first of all, you just try and copy the other sports leagues and think, well, they must be doing it right. It's like, they are and they aren't, you know, like they kind of are, but it's
why not just
also
take the best and switch it for what
yeah,
works?
why not just steal everything good?
They don't take like the little bits that would work. They want
no, I agree. I would just steal everything. Take everything good.
Yeah, exactly. Why do you have to take a little bit from that, take a little bit from this? You don't just put like the same thing on one plate. You don't just have all the same thing. You mix it up. You get a little bit of everything. That works best for you. Like that's all I even think about what they could even do for Counter-Strike is like take a little bit from what Dota does, take a little bit from League does, shake it up and see what you get. Like do like the whole like tournament system that they have for Dota, do all those points, have them qualify like that, and then do something where they could even rank their own teams through that, and then you have a whole ranking system. And for groups, instead of having to do this like randomized, like you might get a group of death, why not the top 4 teams that have the most circuit points throughout the whole year? Why not they do like a do a draft of the teams they play in their own group, something like that, so that they pick their own opponents, and then you have now these top teams that want to be in more events because they want to be those top 4 teams that they pick their own opponents, and it's not going to be randomized anymore. It's got like more of a human nature instead of like a computer deciding, oh, nope, this team's going to match with this team, that team's going to match with that team. And you could even have more of the regional battles. Like if Liquid wants to play Cloud9, let's say Cloud9 makes it somehow, like they probably play Cloud9 more than any other team, even though they might not be the lowest ranked team there. They might just pick them just because we beat them 9 times. We beat them 9 times we played out of them. Why not just pick this team? So they pick their own fate, those top teams, too. Do something like that.
Yeah, that's something I've often suggested because basically, like in Korean StarCraft, they had an element like this in one of their leagues. And the whole reason they did it, this is what people didn't get. In Korean StarCraft, there was 2 leagues, right? One was the really prestigious one that was the original one on the main channel. The other one was like the competitor channel. And like a lot of competitors, you have to have a different gimmick if you want to make, because you're not going to beat them by being the best. That's their status, you know. So what you try and do is you try to have your own angle on it. So what they did was, that's why they added this in. Because it's kind of like a bit sensational, isn't it? The idea that like the champion can fuck over his rival by picking him. Whereas like in a normal system, it's like, well, if you're the champion, you get the worst player, he gets the second worst, you know, it's fair. You make it like that. Yep. Well, the whole point is, it made it way more exciting when you had this component. And then crucially, it even actually led to people repeating championships way more in that league than the original one. Because the original one was more like the soccer method, where it's like, right, here are the groups, and you play the same amount of games. And it's like all the same problems. What about this? Zen, if you had to design a league, because the other thing is as well, some formats might fit certain games better, right? If you had to pick a format for League of Legends, like what would you want? Because bearing in mind, you know, we can't go 100% back to Season 2. There's certain business aspects. It's franchised now, and, you know, there's certain elements we have to consider at least. What type of format would be, it doesn't have to be the best, just be more entertaining to you. What would you pick?
I just want to see more tournaments, basically. So I mean, I would ideally go back to season 2 and just have, just the tournaments where teams come in. If you want to do it just half the year, the league, and then spring split is actually tournaments.
I noticed, because that was actually my idea originally, but I noticed a lot of people are on board with that one because it feels the fairest, right? Is like, let's do it so there's like partly an open circuit. So really, I don't even mean open. I just mean let's just have more international tournaments.
Yeah.
And then let's have it that there's one split a year. Like, why don't you just play the summer split? And if you qualify for Worlds, that's how you qualify. That would be fair. If in spring, Team Liquid could choose to go to LCK for a split, or they could go to an IEM or something. That would be cool as fuck.
Yeah, for me, even CS, now that there's only 2 majors a year, it's gotten a bit...
It has taken a bit of the gleam off it, hasn't it?
And you don't even know who's the best. If you want to know who's the best team, one thing you could say, oh, these are the major champions. That means nothing now. Major champions could be C9 when they're already in the gutter, or it's never... Or,
I think that's half the format. Think.
Yeah, so I need at least a major type tournament every 3 or 4 months. I think is the most important thing. And then if they want to have the league for whatever.
Like those best of one's a killer.
What about this, Penguinoff? Would you actually change the CS circuit? Like, is there any way you'd like that to be improved? Is there a system we don't use or tournament format?
I'll tell you, even just do what the Dota is, but then with the Dota system, just amp it up a little bit more and just go. I would say not even include the 24 teams into the major. Because why do we even need the 24 teams? Like, what are the odds of a 24 through 17 team even win it? Like, I was even looking at, like, NCAA stuff. Like, how they have the 64 teams. And it's only, like, one time a seed 8 won the championship and one time a seed 7 made it, which, like, is somewhere in, like, the 30s.
What, is it nearly always, like, seed 1 and seed 2 win the tournament?
No, it's, like, top 4. It's, like, the 1 through 4 seeds, which is 1 through 16. Because, you have one seed 1 for every spot. You have one seed 2 from every spot.
I see what you mean.
So it multiplies by 4.
I guess that does make sense because that's one of the things that I was always hilarious about. Like, I don't follow American college sports, but I know in every single American college sport, there's at least 1 or 2 franchise, universities that just win everything. Like Duke and fucking Alabama and
all
of them.
Quote unquote randomized because you can't get all those scholarships, but yet somehow all these teams.
They just rig the system, of course.
Yeah, of course. That's 100% rigged. 100%. Of course, they're getting stuff under the table. But that would never be admitted. It's college. Sure. Come on, it's NCAA. Let's be real.
Of course.
Which is glad that esports isn't getting to NCAA. That they just said no.
Because here's the thing, like, because in Counter-Strike we have so many tournaments, I've always said I'm totally open to different formats. Like, if they just didn't run so many events, I have no problem Blast doing their little format. Do that for 1 or 2 events. Yeah, that's fine. That's cool. It's your shit. Do it if you want. But the thing is, it does tilt me that we don't have, like, a proper TI-style double elim tournament. Just give me one. Like, it doesn't even have to, it doesn't even have to be a major. But imagine if ESL or someone just had one big tournament a year that they did a full double elim bracket, and it was just, listen, whatever happens, happens. If you go out, you lose your first 2 series, you're out of the tournament. Sorry, it's just what happened. But you know what? It's going to make the fucking end part of that tournament amazing. Because the whole thing is, like, if you watch this year's TI, the actual final wasn't that great a match. But just the concept of, like, they came from the lower bracket and then this team was the winner back. That's such a cool format. It'll always make it a fucking baller concept to watch. It has its natural excitement.
So it build up into it. But yeah, no, with like how the major is in general, I'll just say take away the 24 teams, just make 16. Because how many of those, like, those bottom 8 teams are really going to do something in the next stage? Like,
probably fuck all.
Exactly. Like, they're just going to get eliminated next round. But maybe because the Swiss system gives them a little benefit that maybe they can sneak out. But who knows from that? If you had, like, a legit system, those bottom teams aren't really going to do anything. Like, if Greyhound actually somehow qualified or something, it's like, are they really going to do something in the next stage against those top teams? No. That, like, in reality, they're not really going to do anything with them. But yeah, just do the groups, like the group stage, maybe do like 3 maps instead of doing like these best of ones. Have 16 teams. So it's just those 16 teams playing for the entire time instead of, okay, we got 16 teams to start off. Let's go knock 8 of them off right off the bat so they barely even get any airtime anyways. What's the point of sending the team if they're only going to be there for 3 days? It's like, there's no point. That's a whole money like out of the bank for them anyway. So why even send them?
Oh, that's probably the thing that low-key tilts me the most about CS at the moment, is that we made the major a week longer, but just so we could have the major qualifier be part of the major. Like, brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to make the major a week longer, now we can do all these cool formats.
Exactly.
Just give me an extra week and then have teams play best of threes, or have them play some format where it's some different overall approach and it's harder, or it's a new aspect. Like, there's so much could have been done with that wasn't, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's just like what I've been saying. It's like, do the group stage to start off. Have them play 3 maps each against every team in their group. Like, you have 4 groups of 4. They play 3 maps against each team, not like a best of 3, like actual 3 maps. You'll never have a tiebreaker because 2 teams that have the same record, well, one team had to beat the other team at least in 2 maps. So you don't have a tiebreaker there. And then you jump into a double limit. Top 2 teams in each group, or in the winner's bracket, bottom 2 teams in each group, or in the loser's bracket. And you do that whole group stage for a week. You take out that entire like challenger stage. All the teams at least get showcased for a week. And then for the next week, okay, now if you lose, you're gone. Get the hell out of here. But at least they get like showcased, so it like means a little bit more. Like those teams that make it get a little bit more face time in front of it instead of just...
That's actually a good idea,
Yeah.
the angle that, listen, it's harder to get in, but if you get in...
Yeah.
You get a proper go of it, you know. You can't just
like
get
how
busted straight
baseball is.
out.
It's like you're big time. If you make it to the playoffs, you're actually a big time team. Like there's only like 5-6 teams that actually make it to the playoffs. It's a big deal compared to like talking about like hockey or like basketball. Well, you got 16 teams that qualify. You got over half the league that qualify. So it's like, ooh, big deal. You qualified for the playoffs. Okay, now the real stuff actually begins in the playoffs. So it means nothing really during that whole regular season too.
What do you think, Zen?
I mean, I still think the concept of the TI is the one thing that's missing. So yeah, this bit, I really like the group stage that top 4 go to top bracket, winners bracket. The next 4 go to lowers bracket, and only the last team is eliminated. That's actually a pretty good idea that no one else is taking, at least in the sports I watch. And yeah, that's actually a pretty good idea.
By the way, that's also something sad. Like, listen, obviously esports didn't invent like double limb brackets and things like that. Those existed a long time before. But I will say, normal sports don't even have that. Like, we would be ahead of sports. Like, that's what I'm saying about how old the older sports are. Like, again, like, the funny thing is, the only sport, as far as I can tell, that actually has the right sport system for itself is the NFL, and that's just because it's such a physically taxing sport. You can't really add more games, and you can't really like increase the playoff. Like, it just doesn't make sense to do it. So it's the only one that kind of locked into it, which is actually, I mean, they could have never known that. As every 10 years went by, we'd find out it's more and more dangerous. So turns out you don't want to play more games. But
you might have brain damage. It might be worse.
But every other sport is so poorly done. Like, what's funny is, because I only watched hockey and basketball, I used to even tell people then, like, mate, there's way too many regular season games. Oh, yeah. Like you were saying before, fuck baseball. Don't you play something mental, like 150 games or something each in baseball? What?
At least the regular season has a little bit of meaning to it, that you only got a few teams that make it, but by that, like halfway through the season, half the teams don't even care anymore.
That's mental, though, isn't it? That many games.
They're selling out. They're just selling all their players, and then all those top teams buy those players during the trade deadline. But like, there's no meaning by the time you get to the All-Star break. Like, bottom teams are just like, oh, let's just sell. Our season's over already. That there's no like real competition coming to the second half, except for those close teams on top that are trying to buy all those big time names now. So,
I also think as well, there's just so much room for creativity. Like, I actually had a video. I mean, let me guess how long ago it was now. I'm going to say maybe 6 months ago. I think it was earlier this year. I made a video where the premise was that if a league wants to come along and be a brand new entity in Counter-Strike, the move to do would be to you have like a UFC type thing where you just have a title fight. Yeah. And so you would have taken Astralis if it was earlier this year, and you'd say, right, Team Liquid's the first contender. They play them. Winner gets 100K. If they lose, then another contender comes. If Astralis loses, Team Liquid stays on. They're the champion. And the idea for that, my premise basically was, you could now put all the hype machine around it that you have from the UFC that you can't for a CS tournament. Because the problem is, in CS, you think it's going to be Vitality Astralis in the final, but for all you know, maybe one of them gets bumped in the first round. Yep. And then all of a sudden you have some like obviously the best example would be, remember Cologne last year where it was Na'Vi versus Big in the final? Imagine if that was pay-per-view. Who the fuck would buy that? Like, you knew 100% Na'Vi was going to win. Like, there was no... The problem is, Big had already had all their great matches before they got to the final. Like, it was done. It was a done deal when they got there, they were going to lose. And then the other angle as well is... I wouldn't also mind tournaments. Again, bear in mind, good thing about Counter-Strike is you're never taking anything away. There's always going to be tournaments you like with a different format. I'd even like a tournament that... Like, I guess in a sense, Blast did this. It's less teams... But as a result, you make it more focused. So maybe it is only 6 or 8 teams, but then the format's super sturdy. Like maybe you play everyone in a best of 3, then you play a playoff, and then it's a best of 5 final. But, you know, I'm putting like most of the money for first place. So it's like the champion of champions type thing. It's like everyone who's good, I'm going to invite you. You all know it's first place is where most of the money is, so I don't want to hear any excuses. Coming top 4 means fuck all. I'm going to give you the least money for that. But you know what? You make the final, you win the tournament, you get big money. Now let's see everyone just go fucking ham. And then let's put a format in where it's really sturdy. Like the best team probably wins. Because the point is on that one, I actually think the best teams would love that tournament. And also, there'd be no fucking excuses. Like you're not going to fluke your way to winning that tournament, mate.
Especially best. Take out the best of ones because those are always where the most fluke is. So all those best of ones because you don't get the experience of all the maps. Even then, doing like the title fight thing, I'll even say hell, throw it into a best of 7, no ban maps. You gotta pick all the maps, play all the maps. You know, if you want to hold the title, you got to be the best in all the maps. Let's do it like that. Let's go crazy with it. Might as well. You're gonna do a nut format.
Yeah, if you want to make it unique.
Yeah, exactly. So then there's no bans. Instead, you just pick which map you want to start off with. The other team picks a map. Whatever map you pick, you choose that side too. So it gives a little bit of feel to it as well. It changes it up. I don't know how long that would be. That's a lot. That's a lot of maps. If you get to that 7th map, was that like be like 5 hours of capture?
Yeah, but I know what you mean. But then again, to be fair, if everyone has a permaban, that map's going to go pretty quick.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, because we've all been warped by best of 3, like I'm just going to say it right now, these teams and the tournament organisers have made the gap between maps way too long. Like, you know, where it's sometimes like 45 minutes before the next map starts. Like, what the fuck is that? Like, you know, back in the day when we used to play Counter-Strike 1.6, the next map starts 5 minutes after the map before because you just load up and go in. Like, remember, there was no analysts, so the commentators just there the whole time.
Go.
Yeah, basically. Like, I remember back in the day, this shows how old school it is now, and I'm not even talking about that old, I'm talking about like 2011, where it used to be considered scandalous that like Na'Vi, when they were the best team in 1.6, used to sort of mildly exploit the rules by taking extra long breaks between like halves and stuff. Like they'd be like, oh yes, he fell out of server, he must join again. And like they'd just waste 2 minutes so they could talk like, here's what we're going to do on the map. Even though, they'd already had all their timeouts. Like, even though back then they were doing it like a bit unfair because not everyone did that. Mate, now everyone has like 5 times that amount of time. They can talk whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah. This was just a lot of talking how much...
So you could definitely condense the format if you wanted. I guarantee you on that one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't see any reason like to do like so many of the teams. They're just going to get knocked out anyways, so what's the point of even having them, really? Like, is that really your... Like, do you really want to try to throw in that underdog moment? Is that like really the big thing that everyone wants now? Let's just go get the underdog. Let's go get a little Rudy that comes in and just somehow does a miracle run. That's all we want. They just want like the Cloud9 runs.
They do get way too horny for that shit as well, don't they? It's never as good as they make out as well. Like the big one's the best example. They had all those amazing matches. They just got fucking shit on in the final and then never did anything else basically ever. Like, see ya.
Yeah.
See ya, boys.
It's like you never have a legacy with that. The legacies will never be built for that. It's just an ADHD type. Let's go see the next team that's going to come in. That team's going to go see the next team. Go see the next team. It's a freaking roulette. Just seeing what team's going to pop up. There's no real consistency, and then you won't really get a legacy that can get built and build those real storylines. You're just getting some randomness that's being thrown in there.
This video was kindly supported by stayfungg, Patrick Ribeiro, Alice the Alchemist, Dean Tanglis, Alexander Rao, Blunt Smoking Anus Destroyer, Dane Cuskley, JDubs, Chi Mao, NateDOhDoubleG, OllieJ, Tobias Bernasconi, Who the Fuck is Viathan? Special thanks, as always, goes out to Jerky's Minion. Would you like to suggest a topic or a guest for my content? Maybe you want to ask me a question in my monthly video AMA. Do you want teasers for my upcoming content, who the guests are going to be? Maybe you even want to take part in an online esports discussion with yours truly. Well, then put your money where your mouth is and join the Scrilluminati today. The Patreon link is in the description box below.